Guys, I'm Liam Bowen. I'm the head coach at UMBC. I'm here with Figure It Out Baseball, and we're going to take our guys through their stability arm care routine, where they're using plyo balls to make their shoulder and elbow stronger and more stable. Our two pitchers here have started what we call their stability arm care routine. The reason we call it stability arm care is all of these exercises are trying to make their elbow and shoulder joints stronger and more stable. We have an isometric routine that's trying to make their shoulder more mobile. So there's a different purpose to each thing that we do. Right now, Gabe on the left is doing reverse throws. He's basically taking the ball from position out in front of his body and then trying to be as explosive as he can back into that mat with a 1 kilogram ball. He'll do, depending on the day, he'll do either 1 or 2 sets of about 15 of those. What Luke is doing over here on the right with the heaviest ball, the 2 kilogram ball, is what's called rebounders. These are a really good exercise if you get one of these smaller trampolines. We got one from Driveline. We actually have a few of them. And what he's trying to do is he's throwing the ball down onto the trampoline, and then when he catches it, he immediately wants to straighten out his elbow. What that does is the 10 muscles that cross his elbow, or really cross his UCL, it gets a contraction in those and forces those to be better at accepting kind of that punishment that they're getting from the big plyo ball that he's throwing down on the trampoline. This is another exercise that we do as part of our stability arm care routine. We call these D-cell catches. They're fairly popular, certainly nothing that we invented, but it's something that I believe in terms of trying to get guys' shoulders more stable and stronger as they recover from throwing. So what Gabe is doing, Gabe is our guy on a knee here on the right, is he's letting Luke throw the ball out in front of him, catching it, and then trying to decelerate the ball, slow it down all the way down to the ground, and then throw it back to Luke, obviously. That act of decelerating the ball, taking the force that's in that 1 kilogram ball and having to slow it to a stop, the whole back of Gabe's shoulder is getting a contraction, essentially getting a workout in doing that. And that's the part of their body that we're trying to train. If the back of a guy's body, if his brakes are good enough, if they're strong enough to handle the load that throwing is going to give it, then that guy's going to remain healthier, and you're going to have an opportunity to train him more and get him stronger. One thing that's really important on those D-cell catches is the guys have to keep their palm forward. You're not trying to sort of feed the ball back as you would maybe on a double play or something like that. The pitcher who's catching the ball catches the ball with their palm out in front of them and then throws the ball back without turning their palm. That's what's going to keep the back of the shoulder activated. It's going to hit what we want to in that drill. Right now, what Gabe and Luke are doing are upward tosses. So they're each doing it a slightly different way. Gabe kind of does shorter, quicker ones. Luke does longer ones. The whole idea is we try and keep the elbow as close to shoulder height as possible, and then essentially we're externally rotating the arm, the reverse of what you would do in a throw, and flipping this 1 kilogram ball up to the air to get a contraction across really the top of the shoulder at this point. These are the ones where you got to really have the athlete work up to some of the higher weights and higher rep counts. These are the ones that will make them the most sore. One thing to keep in mind with the stability arm care is it should never be something that gets the guy sore for more than 1 day. If a guy throws quite a bit and it's a big recovery day and he ends up being a little bit more sore based on the arm care that he does, that's okay, because he's going to have time to move forward and then peak the next time that we need him, whether he's throwing against hitters or in a bullpen or what have you. What you never want is a situation where you're pushing the athlete so much with the arm care that it's getting in the way of their throwing when it's time to start throwing hard again. So what I would use as a guideline is just keep talking to the players and make sure that if you're going to make an error, you make an error on the side of going lighter with the weight. The rep count, as long as the weight is appropriate, the rep count, as they can go to failure, and it's not going to beat them up too bad. If you have a really young kid, maybe a 13 or 14-year-old with a 1 kilogram ball, that kid's going to try and kind of compete with the exercise and do the best job he can, but he's probably not ready for that kind of weight unless he's a really exceptional kid at that age, and you're going to end up making him sore through the time that he needs to start dialing his work with the baseball back up again, and that's a situation you don't want to be in. So the age that I would start using the plyo care balls for the drill work that we do in front of our throwing, where we're trying to get the guys to move better, I would start using those at a fairly young age. I would just keep the weights light, and I would keep them as close to a baseball as possible. There's a yellow plyo care ball that's very close to a baseball weight. I think that's good. I think removing the seams and just having a guy throw a smooth ball, there's a real benefit to that, because there's a psychology of, okay, I don't have a baseball in my hand, there's no target. That the goal is really about the way I move my body, and I don't think a kid can be too young or too old for that. I think when you're talking about the weights that go further away from a baseball, I think high school at the absolute earliest. Before high school, you really don't need to do that. And then I would say late high school, by the time we're talking about some more refined drills where guys are once again using weights that are very different from a baseball. And then any of the arm care that we do at the end when we're done throwing, I think that's appropriate for pitchers of any age. I would say, kind of after Little League, when they're just kind of going out and playing. I would keep the weights relatively light and the rep count much shorter for the younger guys, and then work them up to multiple sets of 10 exercises on their heavier days. Liam Bowen again, head coach at UMBC. That was our guys' stability arm care routine, which is going to make their shoulders stronger and more healthy as they move forward through their throwing work over the course of the weeks and months. I would point you guys to the rest of the videos I've done for Figure It Out Baseball. We go through our daily throwing work that we do with each pitcher here that will change depend on the day, but it's the basic structure that we use, and that will start with the video detailing the essentials for a good warm-up.